I love it. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Cornerstone Coaching and the Study of Success. We're just over here talking about weather because Florida's coming up and we're all excited and it's going to be a good time. I hope to see you all there. I'm excited to meet everybody.
I'm
All
cold and sick up here in Cleveland, so everybody send me some healing vibes.
Oh, yes. Healing vibes from everybody
I
here.
mean, it could be worse, but who wants to be scratchy and coughing and sniffly?
No, then that's when you really that's when you really are grateful
I
for.
know. And if you guys see my content today, because that's one of my things, like I've been trying to do better about that. So like I don't feel good today, but it's the challenge. You still got to show up in vibrancy. Even your own frequency is a choice at times. So, um,
Love
oh my
that.
god, oh my
Yeah,
god.
absolutely. Absolutely. Heal yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So let's go ahead and get started. That's actually right on vibe with what we're about to talk about today. So,
Alignment.
yeah. So, for those that are new, I'm not going to harp on this, but the reason they let me come and talk to you is because I have a little bit of knowledge in this subject. And so I'm certified in NLP, hypnosis. I've been a coach for a long time. And I've been in business for a while too. And so they're like, hey, we'll let her come and teach people. So my name is Amy Tremayne. Sorry, let me say that. And I'm glad you're all here today. What we're talking about is the study of success. And in order for us to have success, if we've never had it before or we're not obtaining it naturally, we have to change. And it just is what it is. You're going to have to, if you're trying to do something that you've never done before, there's going to be things that you need to change in order for you to get there, right? And so I start every class with the four requisites of change because I want us to ingrain this in our mind of this is how you're going to change anything. If something small, like I want to stop drinking soda, all the way to something big, like I want to make $1 million. It's the same. It's the same steps. Number one, you got to release your negative emotions and limiting beliefs. And so in this class, for those that are just joining us, this is what we're working on. We're working on like, well, how do you do that? Right. So you've got everybody has negative emotions and limiting beliefs. Everybody, even our fearless leader, Dave, even the president of the United States, all the time, right? Anybody that's in a big position that has a lot resting on their shoulders is going to have some limiting beliefs or emotions about it. If you've ever been through anything in life, you've got some emotions about it. How do we release those negative emotions that are tied to your goal so that we can help you go after it without any of those limits? Okay. After you've released your negative emotions and limiting beliefs, you have to create a compelling future, AKA, you got to set a goal, something to go after. The first two things a coach can help you with. The bottom two things are only things that you can do on your own. You can't, nobody can help you with these. And that's you taking the purposeful action and enforcing the boundaries. I have to enforce boundaries with myself if I want to get to my goals. I can't, I want to lose 10 pounds. Well, then that means I can't have chocolate every night, right? Like these are the boundaries we have to set. It's hardest to set boundaries with ourselves. That's why this is such a major factor, is that that's the hardest part, but it's absolutely necessary. So take your purposeful action, enforce your boundaries, and then you've got to focus on what you want and focus on the positive. Because if you start telling yourself this isn't going to work, it's not going to work. So in order for you to change, you've got to go through these 4 steps. And you can always start taking positive action, focus on what you want, enforce boundaries, and you'll start to work these backwards. You'll get closer to your goals and the negative emotions will start to release. But most of the time, people try to take the positive action and then their negative thoughts and limiting beliefs get in the way. And that's what stalls them out. That's what stalls them out. And then you're like, oh, this doesn't work. Or you enter the valley of disappointment and you're like, this isn't going to work. Or I'm not getting the results. I don't like where I'm at. And you're not pushing through. And it's those limiting beliefs and those negative emotions that hold us back most in life on any level, any scale of what you're trying to accomplish, from the minute to the huge. Any questions on this before I move forward? It's kind of like a overview. If you'd like to, you can go into Campus premier campus, and all the cornerstone coachings are in there for the study of success. So if you want to watch the previous ones, anybody that's missed them, you can come in. I think we're on like number 4. Okay, so let's get into today's lesson. You're going to see this again, by the way. I'm going to repeat this stuff because one of the things you'll learn also about the brain is that it likes repetition, it likes patterns, and it takes repetition in order to instill a pattern. And that's all we're really doing with our habits or our goals is we're instilling a repetitious habit that gets us closer to where we want to go. So today, I'm going to talk to you guys about the prime directives of your unconscious mind. So I've said this in a previous class, so I'll repeat it. Your conscious mind is your goal setter. Your conscious mind says, I want this. I want to make $1 million. I want to make $100,000. I want to sell 60, 100 homes, right? That's you have this dream. And then your subconscious mind is what we call the goal getter. It's the one that's actually going to do the things that go out and get the goal. And your conscious mind, and you've probably experienced this before, where you set a goal, you did all the things you're supposed to do, and then you just don't get it. Something happens. Life happens. Well, life does happen all the time. And our subconscious mind can be controlled to that when even life happens, we still do what we're supposed to do to get to where we want to go. Does that make sense? It's just sometimes we train ourselves to stall out. And that's where those negative emotions and limiting beliefs come in. So, how does the unconscious mind work? Because for the longest time, we believed that we were ruled by our conscious mind, and that was the most important thing. And you said all the affirmations and you said all the right things to yourself, but you're just still not doing what you need to do. That's because the unconscious mind is actually running the show. So who are we dealing with here? This thing that's actually in charge of us. Who is this? And what is it? How does it operate? Okay, so if you want to remind, I don't have a handout. This is just this. So if you want to take pictures to remember these things. But number 1, we all know this by now. It stores memories. So it stores our memories, and it stores them in 2 ways. It stores them in relationship to time and not in relationship to time. So you have memories that you remember from like, oh, I remember when I was 10 years old, and I remember that, and that's in time. And then not in time would be something that you remember and it's not associated with any kind of timeline. So like, can anybody shout out to me or put it in the chat? What do you think that would be? What is something you remember that's not really associated with a timeline? I want to see if anybody can get it.
I was going to say like a pet's death.
Yeah.
Or, something like that.
Well, that's still
a
a
major
timeline.
event. Well, yeah.
But their name is not. So like their name is not on a timeline, but their date of death is. So good. That's great. Phone numbers, right? A phone number is not associated with a timeline, right? Dates, birthdays, all of that is timeline, and you'll remember it based off of a timeline. And then there's other things that we just remember, like people said, a smell or emotions that we had. Even emotions can be on a timeline, but not in relationship to time is like just facts that we have, like addresses, phone numbers, cars, type of cars, and things like that. Does that make sense? Okay, I see heads moving. All right, good. Number 2, and this is, it makes associations. Now, these are the reason they're in this order is because storing memories is like number 1, it stores our memories. That's its main job. And it also makes associations. And these are number 1 and number 2, because this is what it does mostly. It makes associations and it links similar things together and similar ideas. And so it's always looking for patterns. That's why they say consistency is key for starting new habits or getting towards a goal, because your subconscious mind is looking for a pattern. But if you are supposed to make 10 phone calls a day and you do it like every 3 days, your brain is not seeing a pattern here. And it's just kind of like, okay, that's just something that happens. Um, so it looks for patterns. That's why they say it takes like 21 days of repetitious, whatever you're doing to start a habit, and 66 days to solidify it. And that's just because your brain needs enough time to see it as a pattern. And then it'll just become automatic, like brushing your teeth or, anything else that you do automatically. It learns really quickly. It's learning all the time. It's actually learning while you're all the time, even when you're zonked out, it's learning. It's a computer. If you look at it like a computer, it's always learning, and everything that you feed it is programming it. So it stores memories and it makes associations. And then it organizes all of your memories and it uses a timeline. And we all have a timeline. Okay. And this timeline is a physical thing. And I'll talk to you guys about this maybe in another one because we got a lot to get through today. But your timeline is a physical thing. And it's going in your own personal direction. And your brain puts all of your memories onto this timeline in chronological order. And it says the mechanics is called a gestalt because it makes associations. When it creates a memory, it says this thing happened and this is how I felt and this is what I saw and it makes that memory, right? And then something else can happen on your timeline and it says, oh, this feels just like that one time when that thing happened and that person did that thing. And then it connects the two and it says, oh, this is same. And when you have a gestalt like that with negative emotions, it starts to create anchors and triggers. So examples, I'm 5 and something, I fall in a pond, right? I fall in a pond. Okay. Maybe that didn't scare me away from water just yet. But then at 7 years old, I fall in a pool and it's hard for me to get out. And so that kind of creates a little bit. I remember, water, I fall into water a lot. Right. And then at 12, I fall off of a boat into the lake and then boom, I have a full on phobia of water. And it's all because of what is called a gestalt, which is linked memories on your timeline. Okay. And this is important to know because when we started to get into the nitty gritty, or you have a session with me and you want to remove some negative emotions from events, we're going to go into your timeline and we're going to work on this gestalt to try to remove it, because that's where phobias come from. That's where limiting beliefs come from, is just because there's been a pattern that's happened in your life and we got to get rid of that pattern. Am I making sense? Okay, I see lots of heads moving. Okay, good. If I don't make sense, if you're like, you're out there, lady, put it in the chat or shout out and say, you lost me, because I don't want to lose anybody. But I also don't want to like harp on things. So let me know if you have questions. Okay, so next, it represses memories with unresolved negative emotions. Now, I have had repressed memories surface based off of specific liquids that I drank. And then all of a sudden, I remembered something because somebody said something. It triggered my gestalt. And all of a sudden, this whole stream of memories opened up that I really wasn't paying attention to. It wasn't that they just came out of nowhere. I remembered that happening, but I didn't remember I didn't realize what it meant until somebody said something that triggered it. And I said, boop, now all of a sudden it's unlocked. So number 4 goes into number 5, which is what I had experienced. Your subconscious mind will present to you repressed memories for resolution. It wants to make it rational, and it wants to release these emotions. So that's what happened, or that's what happens when repressed memories come to the surface. Or we all went from being children to teenagers to adults. And at some point in time in your life, you've had a moment where you look back and you're like, wow, that was different than I remember it. And now that I'm an adult, that that was it has a whole new meaning to it now, right? You look back on things when you were a child and you're like, whoa, that I probably shouldn't have been riding my bike, in that area alone, all these things. There's just all these things that come up and you're like, wow, that instance has a different light to it. That's your subconscious mind presenting things for you to get new perspective. Am I making sense? Because you didn't have the perspective when you were younger. You're just living it. And then as you get older, your subconscious mind, something happens and it triggers a memory. And your subconscious mind says, remember this? Here's a lesson for you to have from this. And you're like, oh, there's my lesson. Okay. In ancient esoteric cultures and cultures of the East, such as yoga, Buddhism, all that, they have forgiveness practices where they bring up everything that's happened to them throughout the day and they forgive immediately. And then they move on and new day, they start the next day anew. We don't do that here. We don't do that. Maybe on Sundays. But it's not a regular practice that we practice on a daily basis of thinking about what happened throughout our day, assessing any kind of negative emotions that we might have had, thinking about the lessons that we needed to learn from that, and then forgiving everyone and ourselves and then moving. We don't do that. But that's what your subconscious mind needs you to do in order for it to let go of these gestalts, because gestalts of negative emotions are not good. Gestalts of positive emotions, like every time you go to the beach, you feel great. That's great. We like that. That's good for life. You can anchor that. You can create that. You can tap into that when you need it later on. And it's good. And it makes you feel good and it's positive and it doesn't hold you back from getting where you want to go. But negative emotions are bad for you. They're actually bad for your health if you hold on to them. Feeling them is a good thing because it helps you understand your values, your boundaries, what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept. They're a guidance system. But what our brain naturally does is we hold on to that and we create a memory. And then we start to have things that hold us back. Am I making sense? So we got to let go of negative emotions. We have to learn to let go of them on such a regular basis that they don't create gestalts within us, because they don't do anything but hold us back from living a full life, because they create phobias and fears and limits. Okay, so your subconscious mind is repressing memories that are negative until you're ready to resolve them. And you might not be ready to resolve them until years later or whatever, but it knows and it will bring it up. So that's why you get into real estate and you've never had a sales job where you had to get a bunch of rejection ever because you don't like rejection. And then you get into real estate and you start making phone calls and you get this rejection and you're like, whoa. Your subconscious mind is like, that phone looks like it's 1,000,000 pounds. I'm not doing this. This is terrible. I can't take it. It's real. That's negative emotions. That's limiting beliefs. All we have to do is remove whatever that is, and then you'll be totally fine with it. And why do we know that we can do that? Because some people don't have that. See, if some people don't get triggered by making phone calls, right? If some people can just do it and it doesn't, and the rejection doesn't bother them and they don't, then that's how we know that you can do it. And that was one of the foundational concepts that helped me get away from my negative patterns, was that I learned that all of our brains are capable. And if they can do it, I can do it. So that was really interesting to me because I always thought we were all very different. And there's things that other people could do that I couldn't do. And there are physically some things that people can do that I can't do. Intellectually, though, not necessarily. I can do it all. So if they can do it, I can do it. And that's when I started to think, okay, great. So anything that kind of triggers me into like limiting myself, if it doesn't trigger other people, and other people, I just need to model what they're doing. I just need to go look at what they're doing and then model that for myself. And if I can model that, then I will remove the trigger. There's more to it than that, but that's essentially kind of the basis of why I started looking into NLP and things like that. Because I'm like, oh, I just have to model what other people are doing and do it the way they do it. And then I can start removing these things. But in order to really model someone perfectly, you have to remove your negative emotions and limiting beliefs, because you'll start to come up with all kinds of reasons why it's not going to work for you. How many of us do that? We sit in front of a top producer, somebody that's literally killing it and making way more money than us and doing all the things we said we want to do. And they say, do this. This is what I do this. And you say, I can't do that. That's not me. I can't do that.
I'm not door knocking.
I'm not going to door knock. I don't make phone calls. I'm not going to bother people. I get it. It might not feel like it's you, but it's just because you have a limiting belief around it. It's not actually that it's not you. You are 100% moldable. You have been from the time you were very little. The whole world's been molding you up until this point. So somewhere along the line, somebody molded you to say, you can't. We got to get rid of that. Yeah, The Body Keeps the Score is such a good book. I have it on my shelf. It's a good book. Okay. All right. So back to my list. If you have any triggers that are happening, like if you go to the store and somebody triggers you, explore it now. Now you can explore it and you can say, ooh, why did that make me so spicy? Why am I being a spicy little pepper right now? And then you can kind of dig in deep, because it's probably not them. It's you. And your subconscious is saying, here's a gift. You should work on this because you're being a spicy pepper right now and you could be living in peace. You could be living tranquilly. You should deal with this. And what we do is we say, no, it's them. It's them that's triggering me. It's them that's making me feel this way. It's the phone calls that make me feel that way. It's the people on the other end that make me feel that way. It's not me. But that's not in control. Now you're not in control. Now everything else is in control. And you'll never reach your goals if you're not in control. So triggers are fun. Check out your triggers this week and look into those and say, oh, why does that make me spicy? Okay, so number 6, it may keep the repressed emotions repressed for protection. So like if you have you'll hear about people that have super traumatic things happen, and it in your subconscious mind, you're never going to be okay to release it. You're never going to be okay to work on it. They put it down. And this is people have like blackout moments in their life where they can't remember anything, or they have limited memories of things. You do lose your memory over time. Like you lose memories because your brain just doesn't store everything. But some people have like blackout of, I don't remember these years. That's usually because you've repressed it. There's something going on there. And there's ways that you can go, therapies that you can go through to help with that. That's a clinician needs to help with that. I can't help with that. I would love to. I wish I could, but I would refer you out. But if you have that, then that's why, because your subconscious mind is like, no, we're not going to deal with that today. We're going to put that in the closet and we're going to leave that alone. And it's protecting you. Okay, number 7, where are we at? We're doing good. Number 7, it runs your body. You should love your subconscious mind. A lot of people think, oh, I just can't, oh, me and my subconscious mind, it's the enemy. It's like against me, it loves you. It's running your body right now. While you're sitting there writing your notes, it's breathing for you. It's pumping your heart. It's doing all the things. It has a blueprint of your body right now and your body in perfect health, because it's always had a blueprint of perfect health. That's why your body can heal itself. That's why when you get a cut, it can go back together and you'll have a minimal scar. I mean, unless it's a bad cut. But if it's a clean cut, you'll have a minimal scar because it remembers. It remembers where it's supposed to go. That's why, and this might be TMI, I don't know, but when a woman has a baby, the baby takes up so much space inside of her that her organs get pushed all over the place in her body. It's like they go everywhere. And then there's just this big, baby in there. And when the baby is out, the organs naturally fall right back into where they're supposed to go because your body has a blueprint of it in perfect health.
I disagree on the bottom rib. Who else has a bottom rib that just never really clicked back as kids?
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
I feel you.
It's the big boys, man.
Yeah, they go high, right?
But touching on that, I did have two, because it is the memory of the body and this negative self-talk and all of that. But I did have 2 9-pound boys, and I didn't realize it does take about 18 to 20 months for the woman's rib cage, if you have, extreme outage, to go back into place. And you feel every day and second of that 18 months for sure.
Yeah.
But it is fascinating because even the skulls and the bones themselves have that memory to go right back. So
Yes. And we know that the body can heal itself because of the placebo effect. You can ask any doctor about the placebo effect. It is real. And so that means that if you believe that you will be healthy and you believe that you will heal, you have a higher chance of healing. Belief is so powerful that doctors that believe the medication will cure you will increase your chances of being cured. The doctor's beliefs, not just yours. So the placebo effect is very real. And we are a collective, and I might get woo-woo here, but we're a collective consciousness. We really are. It's why we gravitate towards each other. It's why we love. It's why we are. And each species has their own collective consciousness. And that's why dogs can talk to each other and they can't talk to us. Okay. So we're all part of this collective consciousness. So the people around you and their beliefs about you will affect your outcomes. They will affect your beliefs about yourself. And we know that to be very true. You're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with most, right? So if you're hanging out with haters, get some new friends, right? Okay. So your body can heal itself. And I'll just leave that there. I'm not a medical professional, but from my teacher that I learned these things from, he has helped people heal their body, and he's not a doctor. And so we have several coaches that I am colleagues with, that I send people to when they need health, when they have health stuff and they want to deal with that. I send them to them because they have the powers that I deal with business, career, life, and stuff like that. But they have these skills, and people have been able to heal themselves from major diseases. So it's very powerful. Susan.
Yes. I have a coaching session with you next week. I went through chemo and it really effed up my body. I'm dealing with that now. But I would like to know do I ask you about those healers at that point?
Yes, please do. I will give you,
Thank you.
reference everything. I will refer you to them. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So number 8, it preserves the body and it maintains the integrity of the body. So essentially it's your self-preservation mechanism, right? So that's why it tells you, that's why it goes off and it says scary, right? I used to have a fear of heights, and that was I had created a gestalt of high places being dangerous and being scary. And then I went out into the world as an adult, and I could not get on high things, including ladders. I created that. That gestalt and my subconscious mind was coming together to say, and I would shake and I would have a physical reaction. And that was my whole body telling me, get out of here. This is scary. Get out of here. Right. That's the self-preservation. Right. I think that's enough on that. 9, it's the domain of the emotions. All of your emotions are in your subconscious mind. Yeah. Follow your gut, Heather. Yes, exactly. Your subconscious mind and your body are all self-preserving. They're trying to tell you. You just got to listen to it and be in tune with it. It's the domain of the emotions. So something happens and you take it in, and then your subconscious mind cues an emotion and it releases a specific chemical in your brain. And then that's how you get the physical feelings of your emotions: crying, anger, rage, right? That feeling inside, pit in your stomach, stuff like that. It's because your subconscious mind has told your brain to release dopamine or to release cortisone or some kind of chemical that produces a physical reaction in your body, so that you can have that mind body connection that says, get out of Dodge. This is bad, right? Okay. Number 10, this one was really interesting to me. It's a highly moral being, meaning that it always believes it's doing the right thing, and it will justify the right thing based off of the morality that you were taught and accepted. This is very important to know. This is how we have extreme opposites of ideologies, and people can justify things because of the way that they were taught and programmed and accepted. So this is why people can do things and we're like, how could they possibly do it? Tragic things, terrible things that in our mind we could never do. Well, that's because in our world, the morality that we were taught and accepted is vastly different than the morality that that person was taught and accepted. And we're learning this a lot, especially since the 1960s, 70s, when we started actually interviewing like serial killers and things like that. I know I'm going down a dark path, but this is real. So we started interviewing them and talking to them about the way that they were raised. And a lot of them suffered extreme abuses, extreme psychological abuses. And we can now predict based off of childhood behavior and experiences whether or not someone will turn into that and have a proclivity for violence. So it's nature versus nurture a little bit, but it's a lot of nurture. So the environment that you grow up in can have a major impact on your belief of what is right and wrong and what is moral and what is not. And Brian said, especially by their mothers. Yes. Yes, it's so sad. Okay. I'm all on the Netflix. I'm all on Netflix documentaries because I like to learn while I zone out and watch TV. So, there's only so many documentaries on there that aren't to do with murderers. Anyways, it's like, geez, but I'm well versed and no one is ever going to get me. Okay. So number 11, it enjoys serving and it needs clear orders to follow. I like to look at my subconscious mind as like, a very, very obedient dog, or a 6-year-old, like a 5 or a 6-year-old, when they just love you and they want to help you and they want to do everything for you and they follow you around and they're like, just tell me what to do. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. Can I help you? Can I do this? Right? Does anybody, who's had a 6-year-old or like a 5-year-old that's like that, where they just love you and then they turn 8 and they don't want anything to do with you anymore. But at 6, they're like, I love you and I'll do anything for you and I'll do exactly what you tell me to do. That's your subconscious mind. So it loves you and it's like, I will do anything that you want me to do. You want me to do it, I'll do it. You tell me what to do. And then it says, okay, I'll totally do that, but you got to deal with this. So it says, I will do whatever you want me to do, but what about this? Here's this limiting belief that says I can't do that. You believe that I can't do that. So can we get rid of this? And that's what it will serve up to you. And you'll start to have those limiting beliefs come up. Resolve them, get them resolved and get them removed. And then your subconscious mind will say, okay, great. Now I can go. Now I can go out and do the things you want me to do. It controls and maintains all of your perceptions. So your regular perceptions, telepathic perceptions, and what I mean by that is how you perceive other people telepathically, because we all are working telepathically on a regular basis every day, all the time. It's why you say, oh, I feel like they're mad at me. Because you're telepathically perceiving their energy And it's based off of what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you all of that. It's based off of all of your senses. And so, yeah, they might have a really angry face on, but they could just be thinking deeply in that moment. You're telepathically experiencing something. So anyways, it controls and maintains your perceptions. It receives and transmits perceptions to your conscious mind as well. So it's the one that's communicating. Your conscious mind is really receiving. And it's receiving all this information in, and it's sending it back to the subconscious. And it's like, make sense of this, make sense of all this, and like spit it back to me. Store this. It's like, store all this. You're getting all this information. You're like, okay, put it back there for a while so I can keep doing what I'm doing. And then the subconscious mind breaks it down and says, okay, here's a memory here. Oh, whoa, that's scary. Whoa. Okay. That's scary. Let's not ever do that again. And it's like, ooh, that was fun. Let's do that again. See, and it starts compartmentalizing it, and it puts it in your timeline, and it's just back there working. It's just constantly working. It generates, stores, and distributes and transmits all of your energy. So it's running your body even while you're sleeping. It's taking care of you, preserving you, and it generates and stores all of your energy. And it lets it out throughout the day. This is why meditating and shutting down for a moment and giving your brain a rest can bring lots of energy in the afternoon. Start meditating for 10 minutes in the afternoon. Do a guided meditation. Let somebody talk to you while you do it. But if you can shut down your brain and get into a place of calm, you can add massive energy to your day. You won't need the afternoon nap or the cup of coffee, truly. So it generates, stores, and distributes and transmits energy. We get that energy from sleeping. We get it from food. So you want to nourish your brain. That's why you start to feel tired when you kind of like the cognitive goes down when you don't eat anything. You're like, if I get too hungry, I can't even think. If you ask me a question, I'll be like, don't ask me a question right now. I got no brain. Okay. We've all felt that. It maintains your instincts and it generates your habits. So your conscious mind doesn't generate your habits. Your subconscious mind does. Can you see how in control this thing is? And we're just over here like thinking it's running in the background, but it's really taking a lot on. Yeah. When I'm hungry, I've lost my personality too. I'm just very quiet. Like, just get me food. It needs repetition until a habit is installed. So it generates habits and it needs repetition. Remember, it's a 5-year-old, 6-year-old. Do 5-year-olds remember to brush their teeth every day? No, not until you get it going with them every single day, right? And then after a while, they're like, oh, okay, I got it. But you had to do it with them every day. You had to remind them every day in the beginning, right? So I like to look at it like that, like it's a child that I'm growing. This is also something that is called reparenting. Has anybody ever heard of reparenting yourself? Okay. Well, I love our parents, God love them. They did exactly their best. Truly, if you look at their subconscious mind through this lens, they were doing absolutely their best. The best the best they could, even if they weren't great, even if they did bad things. They were actually doing the absolute best they could in the moment that they were given with the things that they had and the tools that were available to them. So when you look at it like that, our parents were doing the best they could. And there's things that they installed in us that didn't always help us. Sometimes it hurt us. So through the process of going through this NLP and all this with me, I'm learning to reparent myself, because some of the inner dialogue that I had from my parents was not that great. And there was programming that I was given that is holding me back. And they didn't know what they were doing at the time. And you never know what someone's going to latch onto. Anybody that's had kids and they're like, I experienced this and it was a really big deal to me. And you're like, what? That's a big deal? Oh, I am so sorry. Okay. Whoa. All right. So I am so sorry. But, and you deal with that. But we all do that. We all latch on to things that other people did, and it's not quite how they meant it to be, but it affected us negatively. Okay, so reparenting yourself is undoing all of that. Sometimes we have a voice inside of our head that's very critical because of the parents that we grew up with. And if you have that, you need to change that voice inside of your head to be less critical to help you grow and foster a more peaceful internal mindset, right? So that's reparenting yourself. So treating your subconscious mind like a little 5 or 6 year old, think about how you would want to talk to a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. You don't say things like, you suck. That's not how you talk to a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. You say things like, okay, that wasn't a good choice. And here's the consequences of what happened because of your choice. Now let's make a different choice. That's how you talk to a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, right? So talk to yourself that way. That's how you reprogram and reparent yourself. But if you look at yourself like a 5-year-old, then you know, oh, you fell off today. You didn't do what you said you were going to do. That's okay. That's okay. Let's get back on the horse now and let's do what we said we were going to do. That's how you reparent and reprogram your brain. Truly. Okay, number 16. It is programmed to continually seek more and more. There's always more to discover. This is why you may feel like it's never enough. Like you're always going after something. Has anybody ever felt that way where it's like, man, I'm just always chasing something. When am I ever just going to be happy with everything I have? Well, your subconscious mind is always looking for more and more and more. So it's always looking to expand. So expand your subconscious, grow art, reading. There's all kinds of things that you can grow your subconscious mind. A lot of times Sadler said never. A lot of times we try to fill it with physical things, like buying things. Fill your subconscious mind up with all kinds of things, information, free things, right? So a little bit about that. Neuro-linguistic programming means that that's how your brain works. So it's happening all the time. So when you don't fill your mind or your subconscious mind with stuff that it's looking for to expand, and you allow other people to fill your subconscious mind with what it wants you to search for and expand, that's how you get consumerism and materialistic tendencies. So here's how it goes. You're at home. You're watching TV because that's what's available to you to entertain and fill your subconscious mind. Commercials come on. They're talking to your subconscious mind. They're programming you. There's triggers that they use specifically to make you hungry, happy, all the good feelings so that you want to fill your subconscious mind with more of that. And then you continuously don't fill your subconscious mind with anything really. And it's like, I want more of that. I want more of that. And it says, you got to go out and get that. Go get that. That's why you get consumerism. That's why it works. Ooh, they get you. That's why I don't like TV with commercials, because I don't want to be programmed. And anytime commercials come on, I'm like, ew, ad, ew, get away from me. And I delete ads everywhere because I know what they're doing to me. They're trying to play to me. Costco is so smart. When you walk into a Costco, they pump the bakery smell. They actually have a vent that goes from the bakery all the way to the front door. And every time you walk into Costco, they pump bakery smell onto you. And you walk in and you smell it and you don't even know you smell it. And you go, ooh, I'm hungry. And then what's the first thing that's in every Costco? What's the first section in Costco? The televisions. The most expensive items in their store. Big screens, computers, electronics, everything that's most expensive is right up front. Because as soon as you walk in and you smell it and you're like, ooh, I'm hungry. Now you're hungry. And your subconscious mind is like, I will fill myself with whatever I can right now. And you see the TV or you see something that resonates with you and you're like, I'm going to get it. Because your subconscious mind is triggered by the smell of the hunger. Does that make sense? Ooh, when I found that out, I walked into Costco and I'm like, you're not getting me, Costco. Luckily, I have enough TVs. All right. So it's always going to seek more and more. So what are you filling that with? What are you filling your subconscious mind with? How are you feeding it? Because it's always going to want more of whatever it is that you're feeding it. Yeah, that's why when you go to the store, you walk out with $300 worth of stuff when you only went there for 50, because your subconscious mind is like, "Ooh, we're buying things. Oh my gosh, we're feeling okay. Let's go. Ooh, what about this? Ooh, what about this? What about this?" Yeah. The moment that I knew that I was in control and I was like, "Oh, I am a master." I'm bad with Target, and I used to spend money like crazy, and I would come out with all kinds of random stuff I don't even like or need. Anyways, so I had gone through this money coaching with an NLP guy, and he did some stuff to my brain. And I walked into Target. It was like right after that. I walked into Target and I had to go there for one thing, and I got a bunch of stuff. And I was talking on the phone, and I stopped in the middle of Target and I said, "I don't need any of this." And I left the cart and I walked out the door. And I was like, this stuff works. That's awesome. That was very transformative for me. But it's the simplest things like that where it's like that was a life-changing moment. If you, because I was spending money at Target. I love to shop and I love to decorate and I love to do all these things, and I got all the knickknacks and I love candles. And why? For what? What is it filling? What am I doing with it? Where's that money really going? I had to break all that needed to be broken down, and then I was able to change. So it functions best. Mr. Z's is amazing. Oh, your guys are talking about furniture. Number 17 is it functions best as a whole unit. It doesn't need parts. It doesn't want parts. If you are in a situation where you say, well, part of me feels like this and part of me feels like this, we can combine those parts so that you don't have that dilemma any longer, because your subconscious mind is now it's scattered. So if you're having a moment where you're like, I don't know what to do, I have this or I have this, because your subconscious mind has all the answers inside of it for what you want. It knows you. It is you. It's preserving you. It's running your conscious mind. So to have conscious parts is not a good thing. So we need to put those together. Parts can actually start to manifest into bigger things like multiple personalities. So people can develop multiple personalities when their consciousness splits. And it can happen over time, and it can happen in an instant with a traumatic event. So that's like, have you ever seen this movie? What's that movie called? Split? I think the movie's called Split. And the guy has like a ton of different personalities. That's real. It's real. And so it happens sometimes off of long-term or short-term trauma where your mind is protecting itself. Your subconscious mind is like, whoa, we can't handle this. We're going to break and split. And then it comes up with something that can handle it. So anyways, if you're in a dilemma and you're like, I don't know, part of me wants to do this, part of me wants to do that. That's not the the movies I watch are a little dark. I like psychology. What can I say? The parts are not, obviously, if you're like, I'm in a dilemma, I don't know what I should do, that's not going to turn into like a complete mental breakdown, but it's on the same level. And we can move those parts together so that you feel more congruent. Being congruent inside, where you feel like, I know what I'm doing. I know I'm in the right place. I know where I'm going. I feel good about myself, good about my surroundings. I mean, sounds nice, right? Where you're like very sure of where you're at and where you're going and who you are and what you're doing. And you don't have parts about things, and and you don't have limiting beliefs, and you're like, I can do anything. That's a beautiful life. That's what we're getting towards. So no parts. It's symbolic. It uses and responds to symbols a lot. At least I'm not watching stuff blow up. Yeah, that's true. It really responds to symbols. That's why I mean, look at history, look at art, look at everything that we do, religions. I mean, just look everywhere. The clothes we wear, it really latches onto symbols. Nike. It's like, that's why they do that. That's why they create symbols. The apple, they did that because they know that our subconscious mind is symbolic and it will start to attribute those symbols to things, right? And it's also subjective, but also objective. So there's symbols that we all agree are something, right? And then there's our own symbols that we create. And like, that's why somebody will have lucky socks. And that's why you love that pendant that your mom gave you, because it's a symbol of it's a physical symbol of that. Or that people get tattooed because we're very symbolic and we like symbols and we like things that mean things. And that's why people will get a bird tattoo and they'll say, this is for my mom and it means this and blah, 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 right? And then, or you've got a painting and you have this very like this whole idea of what this painting means to you. And then the artist has an idea of what that painting means to them, right? And it could be two very different things. And then there's the agreement upon that the painting is a specific type of painting, like an impressionist or something like that, right? So we have symbols that we've all collectively agreed upon, and then we have symbols that we create all on our own. Is number 18 like a vision board? Kind of, but it's just looking for, yeah, it's kind of related to something like that. Yeah, like a picture means something to you, right? Like a boat. What does a boat mean to you? A boat is a symbol of, it could mean lots of different things. Family, it could mean wealth, it could mean a lot of different things. So we create symbols and we like symbols. Yeah. Cool. We're making good time. We're going to get through everything. It takes everything personally. There's a reason I don't have this. There's a reason this one's not number one. Because you kind of needed to know all of that other stuff to really look at yourself and say, oh, yeah, it takes everything personally. This is the basis of projection. Does everybody understand what projection is? Perception is projection. Your perception is projected out onto everybody around you. When you mind read other people, that's actually a projection of yourself onto them. So when we meet someone and we don't know anything about them and we just meet them and maybe we have like a 5-minute conversation and we say, I really like them. I really like them. And you barely know them. It's because you have had an interaction with them in which you have projected yourself onto them and they've projected themselves onto you, and your parts match. There's pieces of you, of their projection and your projection that match each other and you vibe. But we're all projecting ourselves onto other people. It's why when you start a relationship with someone and you're like, oh my God, I'm so in love with this person. They are perfect. They are everything. They're amazing. We're going to have the most amazing life together. All of that good stuff happens while you're actually projecting your own personal fantasy onto them. And then, the honeymoon phase ends. Everybody knows that, right? Like, oh, honeymoon phase is over. Well, that's because your projection, they're not living up to your projection. You've projected what you believe they are based off of what you value and what you love about yourself. Really, it's the things you love about yourself. You're projecting those onto them and you're saying they are going to be just like this. And then when they're not like that, like they do something that isn't that loving, it breaks that projection. And now you see them for who they are. And you're like, I actually don't really love you at all. And then that's why the divorce rate is 50%, because we project a lot. Have you ever felt like somebody's angry at you, but they're not actually like, you're like, they're angry at me. And they're like, no, that's just a projection of whatever you're feeling onto them. You're feeling guilty about something, essentially. And it's like when people accuse you of things and you're like, I would never do that. That's something I don't do. They're probably doing it. So that's the basis of projection. So perception is projection. We take everything personally. When someone says hi, but they don't have a smile on their face, we say, oh, they must be mad at me. And really, it's like they could be that it has nothing to do with you. The best thing that I learned in life is that um, no one is thinking about me really. They're all thinking about themselves. Everybody is projecting themselves out onto the world, and nobody is actually really thinking that deeply about me. So I don't have to worry about it if I flub my words or I don't look my best or all those. It is they're really not thinking about me as much as I think they are. And when I was like that, I was like, I'm free. At first, you're like, oh, nobody's thinking about me. Whatever. And then it's very freeing. And that's why the older you get, the less you care about what people think about you, because you just start to realize they're not thinking about you. They're constantly thinking about themselves. In fact, when they see you, they're projecting themselves onto you. So if they're having a terrible day and you walk up and you just are thinking deeply or whatever, they're like, what's wrong with you? Well, there's nothing wrong with me, actually. I'm having a great day. I was just thinking deeply about this. They're projecting themselves onto you. Anyways, I hope I'm making sense. Projection is a very, it's fun. It's especially fun when you start realizing how other people project onto you all day long. And you're like, have you ever had a conversation with someone and they say, you said this, and you're like, I never said that. I said this, but you were projecting your own thoughts. Sadler says, my wife. I never said that. So, when you can get really good at communication, you can see this in other people, and then you can respond with love instead of defensiveness. Because if two people are taking everything personal and projecting onto each other in a conversation, and nobody stops to say, oh my God, we're projecting, or, oh, okay, let me just drop my ego. It doesn't happen. We start arguing and we just go at it. And then finally it blows up. And then we both come back and we're like, I'm sorry. If you could see it happening in real time, you can stop these from happening with the people that you care about most. And you can say, oh, they're projecting right now. Oh, and then you can kind of deal with it in a different light. And you're not as easily triggered yourself. And now that you know that you take everything personally, you can, right? I could be a therapist. That'd be great. I wish. Now that you know that you take everything personally, when you go out into this world, right? And your client is 10 minutes late. Teresa says I am. I'm Teresa's therapist. When your client's late, you're not like, oh, they're so disrespectful. You're like, oh, I've been late before. That happens. Just things like that, little things like that. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. You're not like, right? You're not like, they cut me off. You're like, oh man, they must be in a hurry. Good thing I can slow down and let them go. You let go of all that stuff that you thought was personal. It's not. Okay. Number 20. I only got 1 minute left. I'm sorry if I go over. You can leave me if you need to. Number 20 is it works on the principle of least effort, the path of least resistance. Your subconscious mind will take the path of least resistance every time. This is why they say there's the comfort zone and then there's your greatness outside the comfort zone, right? Because your subconscious mind is still part of your reptilian brain, which is like stay safe, self-preserve. So when you go out there and you start door knocking and you get that little nervousness and you're like, oh, I don't know about this. Your subconscious mind is like, get in the car. Let's go get Starbucks. This is silly. It's kind of cold out here. Let's go. The next guy's going to yell at you. Let's go. It's like, it's trying to preserve you. And it's like, let's just relax. Anyway, so when you think about the tasks, think about least resistance. Like if you want to go out and work out every morning, you should go to sleep in your workout clothes. So that way, when you wake up, you're already in it. Put your shoes right by your bed. Because then when you put your feet down, it's like, oh, my shoes are right there. And then you're more inclined to go if it's the path of least resistance. What was that? That's funny. Okay. I heard a guy say, if your goals don't scare the heck out of you, you aren't setting your goals high enough. Yes. And our goals scare the heck out of us, so we never do them. So you got to get away from that. And you got to, if it scares you and it gives you the pucker factor, which I've talked about before, that's your sign. You got to go after that. And you got to do everything you can to get yourself out of your way to go after that, because it's actually what you really, really want. And your subconscious mind is offering you all your negative beliefs and saying, you want that? I'll go get it for you. Here. You said you weren't good enough. We're going to have to get rid of that first if you want me to go after that, because I'll go after it, but you got to get rid of this. I love it. All right. And then number 21, this is important. It doesn't process negatives. So it doesn't know that you said, I don't want to eat chocolate. It's like, eat chocolate? That sounds great. Let's do it. So you got to get the chocolate out of there, and you got to not think about chocolate, right? You got mind over matter. So you've got to, yeah, that's the hard part. But also think about it like this. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be angry. Your subconscious mind is like, be angry. She's thinking about being angry. So let's talk about being angry. Let's find other patterns of being angry. But if you say, I'm happy, I want to be happy, I'm happy, then it's like, okay, cool. Now, even further, I want to be happy. It's like, okay, want to be happy. Okay, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. But if you say, I am happy, it's like, oh, okay, we're happy. And then it releases the happy chemicals. Am I making sense? So it's very literal, and it doesn't take negative. So you can't say what you don't want. You have to say what you do want. So this goes into like how we reprogram. So don't say you have to focus on that's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to try to go the other way. Only talk positive. Yes, Heather said it. True. Only talk positive. So I am happy, not I want to be happy, not I don't want to be sad. That's not going to get you where you want to go. I am happy. I like present moment. I like for future focused, and no negatives, and it's all what you want. So I am statements. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I am happy. I am getting 6 listings this month. I am going on a run 3 times a week. All of that. That's what you want to focus on when you're reprogramming. And we'll get deeper into this because we'll start talking about the words that we use, and it'll get really nerdy. Don't worry. All right. That's all I got for today, guys. That's the 21 prime directives of the subconscious mind. I hope that was valuable for you. Cool. Well, I've taken up an extra 4 minutes. Okay, cool. Good. I love it.
Yes, very valuable. Thank you.
Yeah, it was valuable for me when I learned it. I was like, oh,
It's
look at
good
all
stuff.
good. Really good. All right, you guys. Well, we'll be back next week. Can't wait to see you then. Bye.
Sammy.
Thank you.